On this episode of Pimp My Setup, I'm going to be talking about your setups you submit for tips, tricks, feedback, and much more. So if you're interested in that, then sit back, relax, and interact because the show starts now.
It's time for the original setup show dedicated to providing you with tips, tricks, and feedback to pimp out your setup. Hosted by Matt Philly with new special guests every week. Coming at you live in 3, 2, 1.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Pimp My Setup, episode number 204. We're live on March 17th, 2017, even though it says 16th. We'll get to that in a second. But as always, I'm Matt Philly. You can find me on Twitter, I'm Matt Philly, and we're joined by producer Tom.
What's up, guys?
At Thomas Philly on Twitter. Go send him some love. So the reason I said technically March 16th, and the reason it says it up there is because we did film the show live yesterday with a different capture card that just caused a lot of issues. So we're not live right now for really, I think, one of the first times ever. And we're just doing the show. I've talked about these setups already, so forgive me if I seem a little like, hey, I've already talked about this before. But we're just going to kind of get on through them, get them set up, and hopefully by Sunday's episode, we have no technical issues and everything will be great. Obviously, Setup Addicts Facebook group, Discord, if you want to get a fast pass, if you want to get on the show, all that information is down below in the description. But let's get into the first setup of the day, submitted by Dylan, who's 23. Uses setup for design work, web surfing, YouTube, and the occasional Xbox game. So this setup, trying to get the main points from what we were saying yesterday. We like it. It's good. But it does seem like a bit much, especially with that bottom shelf in the left, because although it is pretty organized, it just seems like a bit much to have right there next to where you're sitting. And it is a custom desk, which is great and all, but it seems like you could have went a little more to the right and maybe thought things out just a little bit more, have a better usable space for the laptop. But I would assume you're mainly using the Mac Mini, which we can see. And along with the Mac Mini, we could also see a lot of cables and, the Xbox 360 is in a pretty tight spot, but it should be fine. And, if you want to get, you have a monitorizer, but you could still have that and have monitors, whether it's a clamp or wall mount, whatever. It would look really nice. And, the speakers, everything like that is good. If we go to the cable management photo, in the first photo in the floor, Tom pointed this out yesterday, it's not perfect. And then you go to the next one, that's where he kind of played around with it and got it really, really nice coming out of the subwoofer, which I like. And I like that everything on the right side at the top is all mounted there, and it's really, really nice. The left side, not so much. Also something Tom pointed out, that's probably for his laptop. So he wants to be able to unplug it, take it on the go. Understandable, but everything else is pretty clean, pretty nice for what it is. And then, damn, I sound like I'm just given all the stuff that Tom said, but you were talking about above the monitors.
Yeah, the floating shelf thing with the pictures on it. It feels like it's not being used correctly, so maybe use more of the wall.
Yeah, and maybe don't do like 4x6s for the equivalent of a 24x36 poster.
Yeah.
It's like super microscopic to see those photos, and they're mounted really high, and it's just very underwhelming. And you were saying, like the teamwork poster is cool, but maybe a better spot for it.
Yeah, or maybe something next to it. Maybe another one, like another one of your favorite one of those. Because I know that's like a brand, like the poster brand that's like teamwork.
Yeah.
Excellence, all that kind
motivation,
of stuff.
Yeah. And then like the photo to the left just seems like super out of place and just an odd spot. So easy stuff to fix, but really nice setup nonetheless. Next setup submitted by Carlton. He's 17. He enjoys graphic design and plans on going to college for game design. His YouTube channel is Graphic Achiever. Now, this is another one. We only have this one photo. It's a good angle, though, because it's like, hey, here's the setup, but also, hey, look at my cables. I did a pretty damn good job, which he did. Other than the left side, we don't really see any cable issues at all. You see I would assume probably the either keyboard cable or monitor cable or whatever it is right there. And I mean, there's not a lot you can do. You could feed it behind the back. It's a lot. Yeah. But you get the idea. One thing I said that I wasn't a big fan of was putting the posters and stuff on the molding of the window frame. It's just very odd. It doesn't make sense. That's not how you're supposed to do it. So I would recommend not doing anything like that. And instead, I said with the Minecraft diamond sword on the left side, that would look cool in between the two, the empty wall space in between the molding, and something like that would make more sense. But don't mount stuff to the molding. That's just not how it's supposed to be. But we agreed that it's a very odd use of the space, having that big ass mirror to the right side on an angled dresser, which then connects to an L-shaped desk in not an L-shaped portion of the room. If anything, a corner desk would have looked nice, or just a flat desk up against the wall would be sufficient. And honestly, you don't really need the L desk. You're not utilizing the L desk, so doesn't necessarily make sense. And what else did we say? The game rack?
A gaming rack is like out of place unless there's an entertainment setup off to the left, but we can't really see. So
more storage space would be ideal.
Yeah, maybe some storage underneath the tables. I mean, if you're not going to use the L desk, maybe just throw some storage underneath that.
Yeah, do something. Got to make the L desk make sense, which I don't think you can make it make sense at this point.
No, not in this room.
Yeah, it's just not the right kind of room. Next setup submitted by Nicky. He's 11. We don't know too much about him other than the fact that, well, obviously he likes Deadpool, and goddamn, he actually has great cable management. A little confusing though, and I said this yesterday, that the use of wire mold isn't right. Props. I like the zip tie usage on the right leg. Really great stuff, but technically you have more than enough slack, because you had enough slack to go down and to the right. You could have just went along the underside of the desk down to where you're going, and it would have been 100% fine. But instead you made it way more obvious than it needs to be. You don't have the L piece, the corner piece either, so we see a little bit of the cable. Obviously I'm nitpicking here, but it would have just been a lot easier to go do it hidden, so I give you props for using cable management tips like wire mold and stuff, but you got to do it the right way. The sound system's a little over the top, especially given the desk space that you have. So if it was something a little more straight to the point, I think it would be nice. But if you really like that music, Nicky, go for it. Just be careful you don't knock that lava lamp over. And of course, the laptops in a little bit of a weird spot. We also made fun of, and I say this in a nice way, of the chair. We said it's like a barber chair. So my dude really likes getting haircuts, so much so he bought the damn chair for himself. But yeah, a little bit more Deadpool would be awesome. You have that artwork to the left. Why not something above the monitor? And what else am I missing, Tom?
I don't know. A controller stand, like you said.
Yeah, controller stand.
Yeah. I mean, you have the room for it, so might as well.
And it would make the setup look a lot cooler.
Yeah, but it's not a bad setup.
Yeah, it was a great setup, especially for 11. Yeah. Next setup submitted by Kristoffer. He's 15. Uses setup for video editing, gaming, and photoshopping. His YouTube channel is Lil Z CSGO. So again, this one is pretty obvious for a lot of people. It's great. He did a wonderful job, minus a few things. And one of that is something Tom agreed with. Lack of personality. Who are you? What's the theme? What does he do, Tom, to make this work?
I mean, he has wall space, from the looks of it at least, a blank canvas. Why not put some posters up there? You like a Rainbow Six? Why don't you put a Rainbow Six poster up there? Yeah,
maybe you have the HyperX red, a little bit of red LED on the mouse, a little bit on the case. Why not pop some red in there? Pop a color, give it a little bit more life. Let us know who you are. I talked about the Blue Yeti positioning. Great job. I don't hate the Blue Yeti. I just know for the price, there are better microphones, especially for the sound a lot of people are aiming for. In this scenario, the placement, and given that it's a condenser, it's going to sound superb. So I like it. Very smart, and it looks cool too. But the left monitor kind of looks like it's going down like the Titanic back in the early 1900s, whenever that was. But yeah, it's like a great use of space. It's a very simple, straight to the point setup with a great view off to the left, but it's lacking that next bit. So just give it a little bit of your life, a little bit of your love, and boom. And the cable management, also a wonderful job. And not much else to say about that one, right?
Nope, that's basically it.
But the next one, Carson, he's 15. He loves gaming and technology. His YouTube channel is Slick Strike. And we love this setup, except for one main piece, which I think is pretty obvious for a lot of people. The desk, although he did a wonderful job utilizing the space, and it's a very odd spaced out setup, he did a great job with it. The printer, it's technically on the desk, which is weird. So like the PC and all that, but we don't like it. He has so much room too. He's got a stool off to the right that if he wanted, he could technically put his PC there, but obviously you don't put on a stool. You want more of like an end table. Regardless, you get a nice long desk. He can easily show off all the different cool little knickknacks and things that he has. Better display all of that, better usability, more breathability for his mouse. I just think it would help tremendously. And then what else? A little bit more theme, right?
Yeah, I mean, he knows what he's doing. He's using what, desk, he has like lying around, basically the shelving and all that. So he knows what he's doing. He'll get new stuff down the line and he'll have a great setup.
Yeah, and I think the wool color and all that's a little bit odd. How he goes from a nice gray to all of a sudden like this hideous mustard, and then like the woodish doors, which I know that's out of his control, but just things I would like to say. Next setup submitted by Toby. He's 13, and this was like, okay, he's 13. I'm not going to be a dick, but it was kind of funny yesterday. We were making some jokes. Obviously, he's in the family room, and we were saying that, his mom was probably like, this rug, if you put something in here and it's not on this rug, I'm going to beat your ass.
What's that cable doing there?
Yeah, Toby, put it on the damn rug. But obviously, I would assume his mom's not like that. It just looks like you were literally only allowed on the rug, and that's it. But yeah, I think like the car photo is so out of place. It doesn't cover up the disgustingness that is next to that was not patched up beautifully. You get something bigger that covers up that wall, boom, nice, easy. Obviously, it's not like a full-on setup. It's a laptop. He's got the accessories and stuff, but you need some storage. Your cable management needs a little bit of love. And, it'll get better once your mom gives you more space, so on and so forth.
Yeah, once you get older, get a job, you'll have money.
You'll be fine. But for now, not bad. It's just not amazing. So next setup submitted by David. Now this was his old setup. He is 15. The left setup is his, and the right, I got this wrong because he was on the show before. I said that was his younger brother's, just by the looks of it, but it's his older brother. So obviously his older brother is not loved by his parents, but he mostly games, watches movies and programs. But just quickly before we go to the next photo, look at the floor. Okay, look at the monitor layout on the left side. Look at the top shelf and just all the pictures on the wall. He did a great job with cleaning it and sort of, getting out of sight, out of mind checked off and wire management checked off. Really a great job, but that's not going to be enough to get him a great score, because by doing what he did, he actually, yes, he improved his cable management, but he destroyed his usability score. I don't know if you would agree with this. I know Tom agrees, but the PC is not in the best spot. It was better on the floor. Yes, all the cables come out and you can hide them behind the monitor. Oh my God, that's great. But it's not going to matter because you now have pushed the left monitor too far to the right. You're not centered to the ultra wide, which looks awful. And then having the right monitor, which he said he got for free, just because he got it for free doesn't mean you need to use it. It's at like such a freaking weird angle. It's like bam, and then the other one's
not
like
necessary at all.
Yeah,
in any way, shape, or form.
Doesn't make sense. I'm not a fan of it. So I think the PC needs to go back on the floor. You need to get rid of the right display. Center yourself to the ultra wide. Fix the left display, and if anything, put the left display on the right side if you want to keep your PC there. But I don't think you really need to. I think it would work better on the bottom. Plus, your brother's setup is still shit. It's awful. He could use. Tom's had this idea. He could use that left display. Hook them up, help them with cable management, because although it's like not your setup, quote unquote, it does affect your setup. And what I mean by that is the photo you sent me is quite literally both setups. So it's like, if you have half your face is like full of makeup and stuff and you look beautiful, and the other one's like you have a disease that your face is being eroded, and
you're like, only judge this face because it's prettier.
It's like, look at me, I look so pretty. It's like, oh God. So yeah, obviously terrible analogy there, but you understand what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense. It kind of makes you look like a douche too. Like, hey, guess what? I may be younger, but my setup's better, bitch, and it's worth 10 times more. So put a little bit of love into it, help your brother out, and fix the damn monitors. Anything else?
No, that's basically it.
All right, next setup, Domenic. He's 19, uses setup for DJing, recording, mastering music, making short videos, and editing photos. He also games, and he uses his desktop for browsing the internet and his laptop for everything else. So the first thing I said was, why do you have a laptop that blows compared to your laptop, your desktop compared to your laptop? Words. Doesn't make any sense, especially because the PC is in such a terrible spot for your feet. It creates even more cables that are unnecessary. So I have this wonderful idea. Sell it on Craigslist, some drug money, and then guess what? All you'll have is your laptop. That'll cut out the cables. It'll have better usability because the laptop will be connected just to the TV and you have nothing else to worry about. Speakers go there. Everything, boom, easy. Straight into that. Nothing else to worry about. So that's theme, cable management. I mean, out of sight, out of mind. A few things to work on. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he has a really, really cramped space, so there's really nothing you can do with theme and personality except for having something on like the monitors. But
Yeah.
really nothing you can do in this tight space.
And this is what we did yesterday. We just went over it like in 2 seconds.
Yep,
so
basically.
It is what it is. Next setup, somebody by Travis. He said he's 45 plus years old. He didn't tell us exactly, but this was his before photo. So before you have a cow, let me tell you that this setup gets a 99. Not this one, but the next one. So let me quickly read. He says workspace used for a lot of PC gaming and also system administration stuff, and he loves Star Wars. So really, this setup was like good. It's just the desk hurt because everything looked way more cramped than it should have. But he was like, you know what? Let me make it a little bit better. Damn! Yeah! That is insane. This setup is... You know what I'm saying, Tom?
That sounded just like what I thought.
Yeah, like in your head.
In my head, yeah.
Yeah, so we have this photo. We have the next photo that shows the cable management, which we'll get to in a second. The next photo shows just how it goes from a simple triple monitor, powerful, beautiful setup to all of a sudden just a bam, little spice bit of Star Wars. And then you go to the next photo and you're like, oh, oh, okay. So yeah, I love it. I said this in the show yesterday. I want to know how long he's been collecting. I want to know all that because this is just epic. You don't just one day be like, yeah, I'm going to buy a ton of stuff. Like you have to be doing this for a long time. And then the other thing is in the previous photo, if you look overhead, there's a lot going on above him, which is not something we see often at all. And staying on this photo, I'll quickly say this, out of sight, out of mind. You know, it's great. It works. It's awesome. For some people, they're going to see this and they're going to say it's overwhelming. It's a little bit too much. And that they're not a fan, but everyone's different. If you love Star Wars, I'm pretty sure this isn't too much for you, you know? No. So you would agree on that,
I would
right?
definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
I like it. And I'm one for having like simple setups or simple like arrangement of setups.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great job.
Yeah. And I mean, you can't say it doesn't have theme. That's for sure. So, going to the previous, well, actually, let's go to the first photo. Look at, he's got controller stands, headphone stand. He's got, really, I mean, every accessory you can think of, a sound bar, microphone with the nice Rode PSA-1 mic arm, a printer, webcam, the color theme, the contrast, he's got multiple headphones underneath, subwoofer, footrest, everything you name it, he's got it. It's wonderful. I absolutely love it. But the one thing I took a point off for, because I have to, because I'm that guy, is really just a few bits of cable management. If you go to the next photo, you're going to see it. You know, obviously coming out of the monitor, they're managed. Cool. If you want to really take it to the next level, you can wire mold it, but you don't have to. So that piece to the left, we see the cable drooping, I know. And then to the left side, kind of coming out of the Signum and stuff, yeah, we see a few cables there. Left side, yeah, zoom in on that. Yeah, so like you see some cables there, but again, nitpicking. It could easily be fixed, but you know, I can't just be giving out hundreds like I give out candy to kids. Okay, well, that sounds weird.
On Halloween.
On Halloween, may I add. But yeah, I mean, you agree with the cable management thing, right?
I mean, yeah, it's 1 point. Yeah, it's not the end of the world. And
yeah, literally at 1 point.
This setup isn't perfect. I mean, like wire management is not like the end of all end, you know, like, oh my god, you don't have good wire management, you're done. It's
amazing. I mean, if you go to the fourth photo again and just quickly give them a little bit of a scroll through from the right to the left, lightsabers, Legos, just so many different figurines, just it's truly awesome. So again, I will agree with some people, it may look like a lot, you know, glass display cases aren't usually meant to be filled to the extreme, but this reminds me of sort of like Chris Perillo's Lego set, if you guys have ever seen that in his one room. It's awesome. It's really a super cool setup, and I love it. So next set of the day, submitted by Colin. He's 17. He uses setup for gaming and sometimes a bit of productivity. He's actually thinking of painting the walls light gray. So I guess we'll hit on that first. We talked about this. Tom's in love with this.
I think it matches like perfectly.
Yeah.
I never see that color unless in like a living room, but like it looks
not
awesome.
in a setup, like
not in a setup. No.
Yeah, and with that mix of a white LED filled modern setup, you know, we don't see that. It's a very odd combination that works beautifully. It looks really nice. And when I originally read the email, I wasn't looking at his setup, and he's like, you know, I'm thinking about painting the walls a light gray. People usually say that in their emails, and then I looked at it, I'm like, What, this guy wants to paint his walls? I'm like, what the? He's like, I haven't had time. Well, you don't need to paint. Honestly, I wouldn't paint it.
It looks so like crisp. It doesn't look like there's any like speckles or marks or on the wall. It looks like perfect.
Like out of a magazine.
Yeah. I
would leave it. I agree with Tom. I'm on his side with that. Leave it. If you really are dying for that light gray, go for it. But I don't think you need to. I think instead, just focusing on bigger or better art, not better, just bigger art for the wall would be really, really nice. And also, cable management's like one of my big complaints on this setup. He did it. It's there. It's not hanging on the floor, obviously, but don't go that far and then just like half-ass it. Don't let it droop down like that. It's super easy to fix. Take a little bit more time. Put it up. Bam. Right?
Yep. It's a simple, easy fix.
Yeah. And now for the actual setup itself, a lot of people, well, actually one guy yesterday was like really mad that the monitor isn't centered to the desk, but I don't think he understands that there's an Alex drawer on the right side. And by doing that, you then take the remaining portion of the desk and center yourself to that, which is exactly what he did and exactly how you're supposed to use it. Because if it was centered to the desk, that means your right leg would be inside of the Alex drawer. Doesn't make any sense. Speakers and all that, all the different accessories, really, really nice. We also talked about the fact that he has the Nintendo Switch. And I thought this was the first one, but when I wasn't here, apparently someone had a Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
But the setup wasn't nearly
This one
as
was
good.
nicer, though.
Yeah, so, yeah! There you go, Colin. Really great setup. Anything else you wanted to add to that?
No. I mean, I like the posters. I like the art design. But like you said, get bigger ones.
Yeah, it's a little too small.
Or just more, maybe.
Yeah, there you go. Like 50.
Just like tons. Like all over your,
all over the place.
Like in your kitchen and all. Just wherever.
Everywhere you go, like on the floor, whatever. Yeah. Next and final set of the day, submitted by Joshua, who is 19. You set it for making YouTube videos, playing games, making movies, and building PCs. I didn't really get to talk about this one in full like I wanted to, so let me kind of take a stab at it here. What I tried to explain during the crisis of the technology difficulties is that you have so much desk space, which is not the usual problem people have. People are usually in such tight little spots that they can't actually do anything they want to do. Like earlier, Domenic was in the tightest corner in the world. This dude's got too much desk space to the point that he doesn't even know what to do with it. And I think that's the problem here. It makes the setup look a lot more empty and not as badass as it really is, even though you have a lot of dope ass stuff. So like the left desk, sure, if you want to use that specifically just for the laptop, be my guest. No, just kidding. I just saw Beauty and the Beast today.
Was that in the
yeah, but for something different though.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, hey, Beauty and the Beast, great movie. Anyways, so yeah, like that's fine. It does look a little underwhelming. So maybe a little something on the desk, a little a little.
Well, he's got a little post-it note thing.
Oh, well, that makes it a little better. Just a little something bigger, maybe that would help. And then the right side, the only thing. Sorry, we have tape that's currently falling, so you kind of hear it. The right side of the desk, the only thing it's doing is housing half, not the whole, half of your PC. That's like, come on, man. Why did you need all that desk space? I think you could have come up with a lot of a better arrangement. You know, you have no storage among all this space, so it creates a little bit of an issue for me. Now, the next photo is where I'm also like, the monitors, they're very far back, which usually people have it too close. That works, but they're so small that it just throws off the proportion of the desk to the monitors, and it makes it look really weird. And the angles of the side displays are really really curved in, which I think, although it might be fine to the point where you can turn, you don't have to turn your head left and right, it doesn't seem like really comfortable. It seems really tall up. It seems just kind of weird for me. So, you know, and the cables coming out of it, you know, that's not ideal either. And then also, if you zoom into the right display, it's like overlapping, like in between the bezels. Yeah. It doesn't look like it's overlapping.
A little bit. I don't think it's anything substantial.
Yeah, but it looks like it's lower, it's overlapping, it's forward. The one on the left looks like it's not meeting at the bottom and it's over at the top, in between the bezels. So like, yeah, I think like it's a weird monitor arm. You might want to start fresh, something lower. But the monitors look like they're really small though.
Yeah, because they're so far back. I think that's the only reason. I think they'd be perfectly fine. I think they're like, what, 23 inches, 24?
I would say 23, but like they also kind of look like 21. Like,
yeah, they look pretty small.
it's just like super small in comparison to the keyboard. But yeah, I mean, the next photo, the cable management's not great. I understand you have different tactics set up, but you know, it's hard with the Linmon because nothing really stays attached to it. So you have a really nice strand cables, but it should be going down the back of the leg, not going at a weird angle. If it's not long enough, then don't put the subwoofer there. That's kind of the beauty of it. And then you can kind of move everything so it works for you. So I'm not a huge fan of the cable management. Although there is an attempt, it also makes it look a little bit messier.
Yeah,
Like
there's a lot of wires.
Organized mess.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's like no theme really. You have a little bit on the left side there, which is cool, but again, all that wall space, nothing going on. Very interesting LED colors, but yeah, I mean, it's an okay setup. It's not gonna, you know, make me start to dance or anything, you know.
I mean, I love the lights, but like that doesn't make a setup like look cool. Like this, it just seems very bare bones.
Yeah, there you go. Very bare bones. I agree. It's not terrible. Like, don't think that we're being mean. It's just there's so much you can do to make it better.
Yeah, I mean, it's only going to get better. You can't make it any worse.
Well,
I mean, I would hope so, at least.
Yeah, you never know. But anyways, let's go to the scores, everybody. The scores. But what if she's the one? No? Okay, here we go. Dealing with I almost said a 40. I meant an 80. Let me make this bigger real quick. Okay, Carlton 80, Nicky 80, Kristoffer 80, Carson 80, Toby 56, sorry Toby, David 74, Domenic 68, Travis obviously a 99, Colin a 90, Joshua a 76, and that's going to do it for this episode of Pimp My Setup, episode number 204, dude. We're live on March 16th. No, really, St. Patty's Day. Happy St. Patty's Day. We'll see you on Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Instead of standard time.
Okay.
Everyone thinks that we're doing the show an hour early. It's normal time for us. Some countries, I believe 70 countries, actually celebrate a thing called daylight saving time, aka why? Yeah. I lost an hour of sleep for no goddamn reason. So just make sure you check your calendar. Use a quick Google search. What time is it where Matt Philly lives? And yeah, you'll be all set. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully this was a sufficient episode, although it wasn't live. I'm going to go now. See you later.